Welcome to Shadow Fable. Don't forget to subscribe and dim the lights. Tonight's story is about a man who took a wrong turn into a forest that doesn't want him to leave. And the only way forward is through the voices on the radio. Let's begin. It wasn't supposed to take more than 4 hours. That's what the park ranger had said. Easy loop, just watch for the red markers. I left the visitor's center a little after noon with a sandwich, 2 bottles of water, and a folded map in my back pocket I didn't think I'd need. The trail was simple, flat, wide, and lined with late autumn leaves that crunched underfoot like cereal. I liked hiking alone. No noise, no small talk. Just me and the sound of wind moving through trees like breath between ribs. It was when I saw the old wooden signpost that things got different. It leaned at an odd angle, the kind of crooked that didn't feel accidental. No words on it, just a faded arrow pointing left, carved in deep with something sharp. I don't know why I followed it. Curiosity, maybe, or boredom, or maybe something deeper, more instinctive. Like when you know someone's staring at you in a crowd, even though you haven't seen them yet. I turned left. The forest changed almost immediately. The air grew heavier, damper, like it had rained even though the forecast was clear. The trees grew denser, closer together, their limbs low and twisted like they'd hunched over just to make walking harder. The leaves here weren't crisp. They were soft, wet, and smelled faintly of rot. Still, I didn't stop. Something about the path felt intentional, like it was guiding me, like it was waiting. After maybe 40 minutes of walking, I came to a clearing. At the center of it, half buried in moss and leaves, was a radio. A boxy, metal-cased thing with a cracked speaker grill and a faded tuning dial. It looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. And yet, it was on. A low hum buzzed from the speaker. No music, no voices, just that electric, barely there static that doesn't mean anything. I crouched beside it, brushing dirt from the top. No batteries in sight, no cord. It shouldn't have been working, and that should have been enough for me to leave. But it wasn't. As I turned the dial, something clicked. A voice emerged, distant at first, like it was coming through a tunnel. Crackly, genderless, and flat. Not quite robotic, but not quite human either. He's not where he thinks he is. I froze. It hadn't said a station name. No news, no weather. Just that. And then silence again. I waited, heart thudding. He took the wrong turn. He doesn't know yet, but he will. I looked around. The clearing was still, empty, the trees unmoving. But I swear the shadows had gotten longer, like the sun had slipped behind something it wasn't supposed to. I twisted the dial again, more static, and then, keep walking. The voice was closer now, clearer. It was like it knew when I was listening. My breath was shallow. I stood up, brushing dirt from my knees, and backed away. But I didn't leave. I didn't run, not yet. I don't know if I was frozen or fascinated or both. Then the voice spoke again. Don't look behind you. It took everything in me not to obey that primal urge, to look, to see. But I didn't. Instead, I walked. Forward. Away from the clearing, away from the radio, or at least I thought I had, because 5 minutes later I found it again. Same clearing, same radio, same impossible hum. This time, the radio was already speaking. He thinks he left, but the forest likes him. It wants him to stay. I turned and walked in the opposite direction, fast, focused. I counted my steps. I refused to look around. 37 steps, 50, 100, and still, the clearing, still, The radio, now louder. He doesn't understand. He never did. But he will. I stepped toward it and kicked it hard, sending it tumbling across the dirt. It hit a tree trunk and landed on its side. The voice didn't stop. He's angry now. Good, that helps. I ran, not on the trail, not toward anything, just away. But the forest didn't let me go. Trees pressed closer. Branches scraped at my arms like fingers trying to pull me back. The air felt tighter, heavier, as if the forest was breathing. Eventually, I stumbled. My foot caught on something and I fell hard onto wet leaves. As I sat up, catching my breath, the radio was beside me, not broken, not dented, just there. It crackled again. He lied to her. I blinked. What? Static. He lied. That's why he came. That's why he's here. No, I said aloud. No, I didn't. But my voice was shaky, weak. The radio disagreed. He did. The trip was never about hiking. It was about escaping, about forgetting. Shut up. The forest was silent. Then, tell us. Tell her. I kicked the radio again, but this time it didn't move. I looked down. Its base was rooted into the dirt now. Twisted tendrils of moss and wire were crawling from beneath it like veins, anchoring it to the earth. It was becoming part of the forest. Or maybe it always had been. I stood and ran again. This time, I didn't stop. I ignored the pain in my legs, the scratches on my arms, the way my breath caught in my throat. I ran until the trees began to thin, until I saw light up ahead, and then, finally, I was out. Sort of. I stood at the edge of a road, asphalt, cracked. A faded yellow line down the center. No signs, no traffic. But it was something, a noise behind me. I turned slowly. No forest, just trees, normal ones, the kind that swayed in the breeze, and no radio. I breathed out, just once, a shaky, trembling breath that hurt more than it helped. I took my phone from my pocket, dead, of course, and started walking along the road. North, I guessed, maybe east. It didn't matter, I just wanted out. And then, up ahead, a car, old, pale blue, parked at the side of the road with its driver's side door open. I called out, but no answer. Just the sound of my own voice echoing back too softly. As I got closer, I saw the radio, not in the car, on the hood, waiting. I stopped walking, it turned on by itself. He's almost there. I didn't move. The static shifted. He just needs to remember. My hands were shaking now. What do you want from me? I asked. The speaker hissed. He knows what he did. She cried for hours, and he never told her. He never said goodbye. My throat closed. I felt something press at the edges of my memory, like a picture trying to come into focus. I didn't mean to, I began, but the radio cut me off. He's lying again. The radio's voice had changed. Still calm, still flat, but now with a tone like disappointment, like it knew me too well. He does this every time, pretends, runs, forgets. I stepped back from the car. My legs felt unsteady, like they didn't quite belong to me. The air was too still, too quiet. No birds, no wind. Just that crackling voice and the pressure behind my eyes building like a storm. I didn't come here to forget, I said, louder now. I just needed space, that's all. Silence, then. She's still waiting. A chill spread through my chest. Not from the cold, from recognition. I told her I'd be back by dinner. Yes. I didn't think she'd care, not after what I said. She did. She always did. A memory surfaced, quick and sharp, the kitchen that morning. Her face tight with sadness, my keys in hand. The words I left hanging in the doorway. I just need to breathe, okay? I'll be back before dark. I hadn't said goodbye. I hadn't even looked back. I was going to call, I whispered. You didn't. The radio hissed again, louder now, like static rising to a scream, then, suddenly, quiet. And then, she's gone. That hit me like a punch to the ribs. No, I breathed. That's not... What are you talking about? But the forest around me, if you could even still call it that, had changed. The trees bent unnaturally. The road behind me had disappeared. Even the car was starting to shift, the lines of it softening, melting into something less real. The radio spoke again, but it wasn't talking to me anymore. He's almost ready. I turned. A figure stood a few feet away. Not a person, not exactly. It was me, but wrong. Paler, eyes sunken, clothes damp and torn, and in its hand, the radio. It smiled, not cruelly, almost gently, like it pitied me. Then it stepped aside. Behind it, the forest opened, not into more trees, but into a small room. Familiar. Too familiar. The kitchen. My kitchen. The smell of coffee. The faint hum of the fridge. The clock on the wall, stuck at 6:43 p.m. She stood at the table. Anna, back turned. Frozen. As if waiting, I stepped forward. Anna. She didn't move. The static returned, louder now, like it was pressing against my eardrums. The radio in the figure's hand flared. He needs to say it. I'm sorry, I choked. I was wrong. I shouldn't have left. I should have stayed, should have said goodbye, should have... The room vanished, and I was back in the forest, alone, the clearing again, the radio at my feet, its voice now soft. He said it, but too late. I dropped to my knees. I just want to go home. A pause. Then, this is home now. The forest didn't shift. It didn't roar or scream. It simply accepted me, folded around me like a closing hand. The last thing I heard before the radio clicked off, before the world dimmed into a perpetual half-light, was my own voice, distorted through static. He took the wrong turn. He doesn't know yet, but he will.